I think about my good friend here, and we've talked a lot about the practicality of his home and things that he's wanted to do and all this stuff. And he's like, well, what if we moved over here? He's like, it would maybe put us over here and here. And like, we've just talked through it and kind of just through our conversations, like, yeah, but you could put a pool back here in your house and all this kind of stuff. And he decided to stay. Hello, everyone. You have arrived to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. As always, I'm Matt Pinelli, joined with the great Garrett Fry. We tried a new little intro today. I'm not sure if that played well, but if you liked it...
Matt's winging it.
I'd love to know. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know how you like us starting up these things. Have a little fun. And if you're not watching on YouTube, head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like, share it out. And we usually say this at the end. I'll say it at the beginning because we so appreciate everybody who listens and shares the podcast. If you guys do get value out of these episodes, we would love for you to share it with your colleagues so that we can continue to inspire and bring everybody together so that we can all improve and do wonderful things with our business and our communities. And so we appreciate each and every one of you. And we're excited to dive in today, Garrett, because you brought this up. This actually came up in our community multiple times over. This has come up in coaching calls about time and clients and buyers and sellers talking about now it may not be the time. I want to go on pause. And it's like, why are we so focused on time when there's this other thing that truly is the catalyst to why people buy and sell real estate?
Yeah, I threw this on here because we watched this happen in different marketplaces where initially what caused this, because then it got amplified through the coaching call that we were on the other day, the group coaching. But this initially went on here because I've watched over the years where a client will come to somebody and say, oh, I am thinking about buying or selling, and we are about 6 months out. Or maybe even the realtor asked the questions trying to get the timeline. Maybe the client doesn't just throw it at them and say 6 months, but maybe the realtor asks and says, what are you guys thinking? Like, what are your timelines of when you want to make this move? We're about a year, maybe 6 months to a year out. And the realtor steps back and says, all right, I'm going to put them on a list to follow up with them in maybe about 4 months, get a little bit ahead of it, and we'll see if they're ready to do something. And then they leave them. They don't talk to them during that time. They have any other follow-up, any other communication, because they just have this, we had the initial meeting, and now we're going to meet with them in about 4 months. And the amount of times the realtor will get a hold of me going, oh, damn them, they lied to me, they didn't do this, whatever. Like, they went and they've already moved, they found another realtor, like, they told me, okay, we could rant about this all day long. But so that's what initially put this on kind of our list, that we were like, well, maybe we should talk about this and make a bigger deal about this. But then recently it's been coming up because we have people that say, we want to buy, we want to sell. They're meeting with the realtor, they're going through all the stuff. And then all the things that it takes to get the home ready to go on the market right now, so they're hitting the market correctly. All the things that it takes to be a buyer right now, and all that, we're not dealing with the best interest rates and trying to weigh this all out, what's working, what's not. There's a point in here that the clients are going, you know what? Let's just not do this right now. We're going to put everything on hold. We're going to slow things down for a second. This is what we've been hearing on the coaching calls right now, is this like, pump the brakes. Let's just take a pause. And there's reasons that this happens, Matt, both sides. The initial one that I shared, there's a reason that happens. And then right now, there's a reason this is happening. And we're going to talk about it today.
Well, I think there's also a third thing that gets put in here on why time becomes this factor that buyers and sellers even think about. And it's because realtors propagate this. Spring is the best time to sell your home. Oh, there's a fall market. That's a great time to sell your home. Oh, thinking of selling in the winter? Here's how you would be the great time to sell in the winter. Like, they get so focused on time when it comes to sharing content and talking about like, how do we do this journey? And I bet it creeps into those conversations too, when maybe the realtor doesn't even ask, or maybe they do ask the seller, like, what are you thinking about your timeline? And the seller might throw a question back saying, well, when would be the best time to sell, and the realtor might go, and which reasonably so, I understand it because there is data and all this stuff that we look at. Realtor might say, well, if you can, maybe let's wait until the spring market because that's typically when there is the most activity, which is a reasonable answer. However, are you now planting a seed for them to say, yeah, maybe we will wait, and then you go along, and this is where realtors fall, is they don't then communicate. But then the fall time frame comes around and that seller goes, you know what? No, we do need to sell now. And they go and list the house, and they forgot to call that realtor back because they were talking to another realtor who's like, yeah, fall's good. And all of a sudden that realtor comes around in the spring like, all right, let's get John and Sally ready to list. And they're like, oh, you guys already listed. Well, what happened? It's like, well, I thought we talked about spring being the best time to sell and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, we did, but ... So, yeah, I think that the realtors can also even unknowingly put that time frame in a buyer or seller's mind as well, Garrett.
And here's the funny thing, Matt. Usually it's not that we noticed that or we called them and they were like, oh, but. Usually the mail comes back with a return to sender or this person does not exist at this address. Well, and they're like,
what really happens is they're looking at the hot sheet and they see the property come up on the hot sheet and they're like,
that is true.
What? Why are they on the market?
That house looks familiar. That looks just like Sandy and John's house. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Well, because I will say, if they are doing the mailers, they're doing the emails, if they are marketing, they probably won't, the majority of agents won't miss out on that opportunity if they have the time conversation. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the real reason why people move, because if you can stay focused on that, time is not going to matter whatsoever. It's just going to become another element that is built into the entire plan, but we're going to be focused on this pain or maybe pleasure that's driving their reason to move, Garrett.
So it's interesting talking about the pain and the pleasure side, because more often than not, it's pain in the search for pleasure. That's usually what it is. It's a being in a place you don't want to be in right now and going, you know what, I can see a better solution. I can see something that's going to fix this world or amplify my world. Maybe you're in the pain's an interesting thing, because you could be having a great life where you have, 10 ATVs sitting in your garage that you're using every single weekend, and you're just like, man, this is awesome. And there's a part of you that goes, but I want to buy 3 more ATVs so all my friends can come over and ride, and I don't have a place to store them. I need more space. Like, pain is just not, it's not like you're going to come across somebody all the time and you're like, oh, these people look miserable. Like, it's not that. It's just they're in a space that they can see a better space that exists. And that is what causes people to make a move, to make a change. Now, I used a crazy example of it, but it also can be that person that's like, oh my gosh, we have 3 kids right now. We're sitting in a 2-bedroom house. They're all sharing a bedroom together, and we have a new child coming on the way. And this just seems insane to put a new baby in that environment with those kids. So the other option is we put the new baby in our bedroom with us. Well, how long is that going to last? And so all of a sudden it's like, this is not going to be a viable solution right now. We need to fix this. Now, what's interesting is that if you don't listen to their time frames, and this is where we get into a massive trap, Matt, is we start listening to the time frames of the people and we buy into it and we stop focusing on what is causing them to want to make this move. And then what happens is like right now, as it's taking longer to figure this out, as there's more moving parts, as you have all those ATVs in your garage and the realtor's going, we should redo you might want to change the carpet out. You might want to do this. And at some point they're going, what am I doing? I don't need more ATVs. I'm cool. Like this, what are we doing? Sorry, I don't even know why I talked about this. Let's not do this right now. Again, my silly example is really what's happening with some of these people out here. And they're going, I can just make this situation work that I'm in right now. We can make the house work. We can redo the bed. We can add a wall in. We can do this because that's easier
I can park the ATVs this way and I can fit 3 more into this garage. We can make it work. I mean, I'll have to move this one out when I want to get this one out, but at least I can get the 3 more in and go riding with my friends.
But any time that they're seeing that they can find a solution that's easier than moving, and this is where I think us as real estate agents, you guys as real estate agents, your job is to take this very difficult situation and go, guys, I got it. It's okay. We're going to navigate through this thing. I'm going to reduce the pain levels as much as I possibly can around this situation that takes a lot of energy to get through. That's my job. That's what I'm here for, because otherwise you will put it on hold. You will go, I don't want to do this right now. This is a nightmare. It's our job. Like, we should step into that role. But that's where the timelines get strange and kind of become false.
Well, and to add some context to this, because I like where we're going, this was a question that was in our group call in the 11 circle yesterday, which was, I'm frustrated because I have people who have decided to put off their search, not sell their house because they've figured out they rather just put the money into the current house and make that work. And there's two ways to look at this, and they're both correct. One is fantastic. We worked through what these people are going through, the pain, the pleasure, all the things they're looking for, and they've decided that the best solution is to stay there, and their realtor was part of making that decision, and now they don't have to go and move and go through all that stuff, and it's going to be awesome. And awesome. The realtor helped them make that decision. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, we're not going to get a commission, but they also now are looking at the realtor and saying, hey, that person didn't force me into a sale and a buy just so they can make a buck. We figured out a great solution for us. The other side of it is what you were just talking about, Garrett, which is if we have to do all this stuff to the house anyway to make it what we want to get out of it so we can make this move, let's just stay, because moving sucks. It does. Nobody enjoys it. We were just over at a friend's house who moved back to South Carolina from Virginia and told us about all the horrors of their move. It was terrible. It was lots of stress. The selling process was totally fine for them. They didn't have to buy because they were just moving back into a house they already owned. But the process of moving, they're like, I never want to do it again. Right. And that's where what you're saying, Garrett, is you can come in as a realtor and talk. And this is where the conversations are tough and this is where you have to detach from the outcome, because there's two ways to look at this too. And I think even when we look at the time frame, sometimes realtors get to that spring. Oh, it's spring. Garrett was thinking about selling his house. We call him up and you talk to Garrett. He didn't sell his house. He didn't go to another realtor. He's like, oh, hey, Matt, great. Awesome. Great to hear from you. Yeah, you know what? We decided we're still good. We're thinking about it, but we're not ready yet. And now the realtor gets disappointed. Oh, man, they said they were going to sell in the spring and they're not going to.
I was counting on that.
But they lied to me, right? But the key is, if you detach yourself from the outcome and the time frame and you focus on this pain or pleasure, you just focus on having conversation. Because I even think the people who then renovate the house and say, hey, we're going to stay, they may not, though. They may still do the work at the house, and at the end of the day look like, wow, we do like what we did. However, it's still missing the extra 3 spaces for those ATVs that I want to put in here. And I still want to move and find more space for that. And hey, we survived through this renovation. We can go buy another house and go through it again. Sometimes people then all of a sudden they're willing to do it. The point is maintaining the conversation, right? We can't stop the conversation because someone has decided to stop the timeline. And that's where a lot of realtors just kind of end, Garrett. They're like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to buy or sell, so let's just stop talking. And that's a bad decision.
Well, we get so transactional is what we do. And so we go and we say, okay, not everybody here. So I'm not pointing the finger at everybody, but a lot of realtors, what happens is they go, ooh, this is a potential opportunity. So I'm going to raise them up on my list a little bit of more important people in my database. And now I'm going to give them a little bit more attention. I'll follow up with them a little bit more, maybe check in with them in a couple of months because they told me to. Now I've got a reason to follow up in 3 months. So I'll put that on the calendar and we make that touch again. And then the minute we see that the light has diminished and that's not going to happen, we just all of a sudden go, all right, I'm done. And then we don't talk to them for a year. And it's like, whoa. As you said, Matt, you've got to detach from the outcome. And this is where I look at building a strong relationship style business, the real estate is a byproduct of the incredible relationships. You choosing to stay in flow with them and having no attachment to if they buy, if they sell, actually takes that relationship and raises it up, which actually produces a higher outcome when it comes to referrals and them actually using you. Primarily referrals. You become a very referable source especially when you detach from them buying or selling. That's a bonus if they buy or sell. That's awesome if they buy or sell. But as of right now, you're just trying to help them live the best life they possibly can. John Griswold's a prime example this is an interview we did here just a little while back. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to it, and we talked about his market impact reports that he does. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people look at that as, did I get a sale out of it? Was it successful because I got a referral or whatnot? John looks at it as like, how many people can I refer to these guys to help them live a better life? This is a total detachment from the outcome of his business. It's about taking care of these people. And again, this goes back into when you're working with people, when you are connecting with them and sitting down with them and hearing about this world they dream about. They're saying they want to buy, they're saying they want to sell, which for anybody who's listening, that means that there is a splinter in their foot. There is something causing them irritation that makes them go, this space doesn't quite work for us anymore. And what if? What if we sold? What if we moved? What if we did this? And that's what you're listening for, is how can I help them dream? How can I help them picture what this next place is going to look like? Because if you can help them build that picture, that amplifies, what if I didn't have this little pain over here anymore? Now I've got this on this side. But if they lose sight of it, and this is what we had on the coaching call, a lot of times if they lose sight of the bigger picture as they're moving forward, all they come back into is a process of, why are we doing this? Why are we packaging all this stuff up? Why am I doing this? Nobody has ever said, Matt, man, we just moved. What a fun experience. What a great experience that was, man. Packing up all my old memories and I saw stuff I haven't seen for years because it's been, hidden away in little corners and storages and the games we used to play with the kids, all the board games, we got to see all those and make all those. No, nobody does it. It's miserable.
It is. It is a chore. And it's not super fun. Maybe there's some people out there who enjoy it. And I think, losing sight of the reasons happens because we start to clutter. Once we get somebody who's thinking of selling, we clutter the thought process with all the things they have to do. And this was another question that came up separately, but kind of in tandem was, well, how do I help people who, want to sell their house at a certain price or whatever, and we know that if we did these things it would make the house worth more, but they can't, right? They don't have the means. And it's like, okay, well, we got to stop trying to force results and have the conversation and talk about where do people want to go and provide options and solutions and guidance versus saying it's either this or this. Once we get into that, and it's not a bad thing, by the way, too. And I think this is the hard work of being a realtor, because even with what you were saying, Garrett, it's like, well, how do I stay in communication with all those people? What if all of a sudden now my life change list or my life desire list of people is 100 people long? How am I going to, and yeah, that's the hard work. That's the hard work of helping people continue to dream. And in a way where you're not trying to push them to make a sale, to make a buy. You're just helping them continue that thought process. Because I've always said this too, Garrett, and I know you agree with it. Like, I think every single year there are people who don't buy or sell because they just did not have the conversation with a professional that helped them see that they could achieve what they want to achieve in this marketplace. They just never had that conversation. And that's why they didn't buy or sell this year.
In that, when they lose sight of it, because you're right, when you're putting your home on the market, it all of a sudden turns into, we got to paint this room, we have to do this, we have to fix that piece of trim that's been bothering me for years, we have to, we got to change these things around. And that, when you lose sight of what we're trying to solve for, that's where it gets strange. And easy thought is people will always move to fix paint. They will always move to fix whatever if they see. And again, the biggest thing is if they have pain and they see a solution, they'll always move towards it. And if they're really clear, they'll move really fast. So going back to what we said earlier, Matt, about like, let's say the person that says they want to buy or sell, but they're 6 months out, and then all of a sudden we contact them in 4 months and they've already moved. This happens so often because they have pain. They're not quite sure how they're going to fix it right now. So 6 months seems like a viable time frame. But then somewhere in there, they talk to a friend, they talk to another realtor, they're at a barbecue, and they're sharing kind of like, oh, we're thinking about moving in the future. We're kind of thinking of, well, what's causing you to move? Oh, I'm going to go back to the ATVs. My brain just keeps going there. We need space for 2 more ATVs for a fleet of 15 that we already have. And all of a sudden the guy goes, or the lady goes, who's the realtor, goes, oh my gosh, I got a property you have to see. It's not even listed right now. It's one of my clients' properties. They're thinking about selling it, but let me run you over there. I can get you in there and we can just walk around it. I'll show you something. And all of a sudden that person goes, this is the solution. This is the solution to what we wanted. Look at this. It backs up to open space, more riding space for the ATVs. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like all of a sudden it just amplifies this situation because they now see a solution. They're done. They're gone. You will never get that person back into your world. You let too much space go. And this is where this happens a lot for a lot of people. And I think that sometimes it's not even acknowledged of the amount of business that maybe is potentially lost. But this is where like your secret sauce of a realtor is just to say, I help people solve for pain. I help people take a situation they're in right now that they're not comfortable with, and I help them get to the other side, which is bringing pleasure into their life. Yeah. That's what I do. It's my number one. And if I can help enough people, find enough people, that's what we're looking for. And I'm going to wrap this up real quick, Matt, with the warm list you're talking about. Like, what if you had 100 people on it? What if you did? And then your job is to actually sit there and say, I'm going to call all these people. I'm going to be in touch with all of them. But what I'm going to listen for is who's going through more pain right now? Who's living a life right now that they know could be better, but they don't know how to get there? I then will take my list and go, you know what? I need to talk to Matt a little bit more often right now. I can hear he's got dreams. He's got places he's got a vision of home that's not where he's currently living right now. That's what we're listening for, because those people, when you spend a little bit more time with them, they potentially could say, I need your help. We're going to sell. Most likely, they're going to be hanging around a whole bunch of people that have the same problems, and they're going to go, hey, do you know the Johnsons, Matt? I got to introduce you. That is actually most likely to happen, but we're not even thinking about that. We miss that all the time.
You brought up a really interesting point, which is if you see that property that matches and solves for pain, show it, right? And we do get stuck, particularly now post-COVID, in a lot of conversations, which conversations are amazing. Don't get me wrong. But showing is always better than telling, right? So like I think about my good friend here, and we've talked a lot about the practicality of his home and things that he's wanted to do and all this stuff. And you know, he's like, well, what if we moved over here? He's like, it would maybe put us over here and here. And like, we've just talked through it and kind of just through our conversations, like, yeah, but you could put a pool back here in your house and all this kind of stuff. And he decided to stay. And I think it was the right decision for him. And he loves the house and he put in a pool. He loves it and all those kind of things, you know, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, but if he did go and look at some other things that already had the pool, that maybe had a little bit more space, that maybe had a little bit more driveway space, that maybe had the auxiliary office, because he built out an entire office in his garage. I was like, maybe he would have chosen that. And I think this gets into, well, the financial element usually becomes the thing that overwhelms the pain, because you say, well, I have the pain for the 3 extra ATVs and all this stuff and the space, but then you start running the math and you're like, like, I don't know if we can make it work. And we stop right there. And a lot of realtors will say, and I totally understand this too, by the way, well, I don't want to spend the time if we know that it's not going to be financially possible. I was like, Makes a lot of sense. Also, I don't want to encourage somebody to go take on more debt or put themselves in a situation where they could become house poor. Also, makes a lot of sense. However, we're just having that in a conversation. Let's go show. Let's go see. Let's go do. Let's explore this pain point a little bit more and turn it into a pleasure point, because maybe all of a sudden they're like, we actually have some extra savings over here. Or, well, I didn't realize that maybe if we did this, we'd actually pull a little bit more equity out of this. Or, oh, I didn't realize there was that loan product that actually can reduce our rate. There's some things that might come up. And here's the other side of it. There might not be something that comes up. You could do all that work and they stay. But imagine what those people will say about the realtor who took the time to allow them to dream and have this experience, because that was beneficial for them.
So if you want to have some fun with this, and I've done this myself when I was selling real estate. I actually did this to my dad when I was selling real estate, is that when you find somebody who's got that pain level kind of under the surface, maybe they've said it out loud, maybe they've just seen it, maybe you've just seen it. There's an opportunity to say like, hey, let's go out to lunch. Like, I'd love to take you out to lunch. By the way, I need to run by a property that I need to take a look at and walk through before we go to lunch. You want to join me? We can go run by, we'll go through the property. I'll take you to lunch. And more often than not, because people love looking at, a lot of you that have your real estate license right now, you have it because you fell in love with looking at houses. And all of a sudden you had this like card that just got you into homes. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I get to see the coolest houses. Well, you take somebody with you. And again, I did this to my dad. And there was this amazing log cabin up on top of a hill overlooking this incredible valley. I had already been to the house, kind of wanted to show my dad, but I also needed to go by and just take a look at some other stuff. So I was like, this will be fun. We'll kind of do this. I think my dad will get a kick out of the house. So we pull up. And my dad has always had a thing for log cabins. Always. Like, I have heard him dream about log cabins ever since I was a little kid. We pull up and he goes, oh my gosh, this is an incredible house. And it was. We walk in the door. You look straight through to this incredible valley with the river down below. And I all of a sudden like turned and watched him, and like he was fabricating future events that were going to happen in this house. He was thinking about where the Christmas tree would go and where the grandkids would be running around this house. He went on the back porch, and he was teaching at that time for Ninja. And he's standing on the back porch and he's looking at this and he's going, oh my gosh. And he looked at me and he goes, do you imagine having all the instructors here and sitting on this porch and having like a dinner and he bit so hard that then I got a phone call a couple days later from my mom going, what did you do? And I said, I was just having fun. Like, we went up, like I wanted to show him this house. She goes, we will never leave the house that we're currently in right now. It's the house that my mom still lives in. We love this house. I love this house. I am not leaving this house. I love everything about where I currently live right now. And my dad got a hold of me. He goes, that was really cool. And I was trying to figure out if we could make it work. And he goes, we're not moving anywhere. But the funny thing is, that was never my intention. My intention was, and I kind of knew that he wanted a bigger space like that. But that's the cool part, is when you help somebody dream and you let them see something. And I know a lot of people go, well, I don't, as you said, Matt, I don't want to put them in a bad financial position. I don't want to push real estate on them. You're not. You're literally just helping them dream and helping them think about a future that maybe they want to have, maybe they want to grow into. You're opening up ideas and possibilities. You can have a lot of fun with this business when you lean into helping people accomplish the world that, I mean, here's the way I look at it, Matt. We only get one life here. We get one life to make it as big and as fun and as cool as it can possibly be. And if I can show something to somebody that's going to bring more joy and excitement out of the life and the passions and the hobbies that they have, why not? Like, I'm not forcing anything on anybody. I'm not sitting here going, you know, if you were successful, you would buy this. I'm not doing that.
Well, you know, we're taking a turn into relating to a conversation we were having before we were recording, and what we had with Ryan, which I believe his episode just aired before this one does, and about our our energy and what we're consuming, right? We're talking about social media. The algorithm exposes what you really like to look at and everything. And when it comes to homes and looking at that, what you do or do not see exposes how your mind will then train and develop. For example, a lot of real estate agents, potentially those of you who are listening, would love to get into investing in real estate, but you never put yourself in a position to talk or see real estate investments. Go walk a potential investment property. Go do this. You'll see how your mind just starts to change, whether you buy that property or you still take 3 or 4 or 5 more years to buy your first investment property. It could change the way you think moving forward. And that's exactly what you just explained with your dad. And if you have the opportunity to help people change the way they think to abundance versus scarcity, because I think a lot of times what happens when people put it on hold is their mind is going from abundance to scarcity real fast. And when scarcity overwhelms abundance, the option is, let's just stay. We're just going to stay put. Let's not make any changes. And like I said, that might be the right choice too, which would be great. But if you give people the space to explore, gosh, they're going to refer, because let's say that wasn't your dad. That was somebody else, a friend. I could see that person going around town like, you got to see this incredible property that Garrett showed me. It's so cool. Like, I could imagine these dinners out here on this back deck, and people say, well, did you buy it? It's like, well, you know, it's not time for us, but like, how cool is that? It's like, and your realtor showed that to you? Like, man, my realtor doesn't do that for me. And all of a sudden the talk is like, Garrett must be a pretty darn good realtor and a great guy. Two things that are really great for attracting more referrals. So
what I think, even if the answer to his friends was, is if Garrett took me out and showed me this house and they're like, are you like, you sounds like you really like it. Or you guys, it is so far out of my price range. Like, even if that's the answer, like, he didn't take me there to sell it to me. Like, I was just with him. I got a chance to go and see this house. If any of you want to have a lot of fun out here right now, and this is funny because this will push everybody's kind of like what you think you can and can't do in this business. Bring a friend with you who has a life change, not to sell them real estate, not to be like, they have not even said they're thinking about buying or selling real estate yet. Bring them on broker tour with you.
I was just thinking that as you're about to go into that, I'm like, this is, you get to go and have fun with a friend and do the thing that you were going to do anyway.
Yeah, do you want to come with me? And we have this thing called broker tour, and it's just the brokers. We actually drive around, we look at homes, and dude, you can totally tag along. And we can see all these cool homes, different. And I would love to know your feedback on some of these houses. Have fun with this business of real estate that you're in. And what's crazy about that is you now have brought them into your world. They're actually thinking about homes. They have a life change going on, not one that they've said, we need to solve for, I want to buy, I want to sell. They just have a baby on the way. Let's just say that. Or they got a new job recently and maybe they have new income and a different lifestyle they could afford. We just know that's in the background. And you're like, did you want to join them? We can grab some lunch. And all of a sudden they get this weird. Now here's the funny thing. Bringing one of your clients on broker's tour will make some of the brokers in your office go, he's not supposed to. This is for brokers only. Like, why? Like, this is a thing that we get to go do because this is not for clients. They should set up separate showings for those people. Tell them to calm down. Like, just be like, it's okay. Like,
mind your own business.
Yeah, it's like, let's have some fun with this. But I have actually done that. I have brought people, when I was selling real estate, I had brought people on broker. And that's why I know that there will be realtors in your office that will get their feathers all bent out of shape and be all like, I can't do that.
Yeah, I've seen it too. And it's like, well,
you might even have the managing broker call you in and be like, well, so Jody over, and she is very frustrated.
Who's never gotten bent out of that? The listing agent. They're like, you brought somebody who's not a broker? How cool. Are they interested? Do they know other people? Are like, the listing agent is always excited. It's the other brokers who didn't think of that.
Well, we don't want, Matt, we don't want to turn this into a thing where everybody just brings all their clients to it.
Okay, fair enough. I understand that too. I understand that perspective. And I know there's probably some people who are getting their feathers ruffled right now. I get it. I totally understand. At the same point, what are you doing? I mean, just like you said, have fun with this business. And yeah, you know what? If that's a rule and it's a hard and fast rule and you can't do that, great. Go out to the public open houses then with them on Sunday, right? Then do that. bring them around to that. Schedule that time to be your personal broker tour and bring some friends with you. I agree, Garrett. If the house, like, make it fun. I understand rules and regulations and all that kind of stuff too. Maybe a little bit of a rule breaker here and there, but
well, it's only a rule until you get told that you've broken it. Like, well, don't be careful, guys. Don't take that advice. Don't do that. But I mean, I had
availability of that one.
Yeah, reel that one back in just a little bit. Don't do that. But I think I had an agent years ago that she actually leaned into this. She rented a bus and she set up she called a whole bunch of agents in her town that had high-end listings. And she said, hey, would it be possible if I put you on a list? We're going to roll by. I'm going to bring about 25 people through your listing because I'm showing amazing architecture, amazing property out here right now. She had her husband serving up little drinks and hors d'oeuvres and things like that. Like the bus would stop, he'd set the table up, they'd all go and look at the house, all come back. I think she's even serving champagne. They had so much fun. That is something that is talked about inside of her inner circle and what her people and what she's got building as a business. Now, could you take people who are on your warm list and do that? People that have life changes going and be like, hey guys, want to go out and have some fun and make an event out of it? When she initially did it, I brought it up as just get a limo, have some fun, make it kind of a fun experience. And then she sends me this picture of this like 35-person bus. And I'm like, now you've gone to a different level.
What I love about that, this is a cool idea. We focus so much on listing agents hosting these open house tours, and you've seen listing agents collaborate, say, hey, let's do the progressive open house and everything. And then you also hear the results afterwards, like, yeah, no one showed up kind of thing. And I love the idea of like one agent, like grab your people. You can do client events and all this stuff. And there's so many fun things you can do with events. But I love the idea of like, let's just go see some cool houses event. And you're literally putting qualified people, because in a group together to go look at houses, and you can manage that in a certain way, right? So that you're also not calling up listing agents and be like, yeah, you guys got this one. I got a whole group of people. They're totally not qualified to see the house, but can we come see it? The answer is going to be no. But you can layer this in a way where it actually works, right? Or like, hey, let's go look at some new home communities, right? Call up all the new home agents, be like, hey, people are curious. They want to come see. So can we like arrange a way where I can bring a crew of my people in? We come see some stuff. Maybe we don't do the normal, like you have to sit every person down before. They would be all about it, right? There's some fun things you can do as a quote buyer's agent side of this thing to create these home tours that I think could be a lot of fun, Garrett, and speaks into what we're talking about here, which is helping people dream.
Well, and what spurred this was the Street of Dreams. That's when a lot of people will have these in their areas where the builders will get together and they build these really high-end homes, all kind of within a neighborhood, and everybody walks from house to house. They sell tickets usually to it for the Street of Dreams tours and stuff like that. And this agent was like, I don't want to do that. She goes, there's a lot of cool homes out here. And the funny thing is, the minute she started calling some of these other listing agents and saying, would you be open to this? I think there was a couple that she got that was kind of like, hey, don't use my listing as your event that you're doing. Like there was a couple people that kind of got weird about it because there's always, when things are outside the box.
And I get that. And it's okay because obviously their first priority is to protect the seller and their home. Totally get it.
But Matt, so many, when the actual listing agent went to their seller and said, hey, there's this opportunity. This is what it is. Would you like to be one of the homes that are going to be recognized in this thing that this other agent's doing? And they're going to bring a whole bunch of people through this house. Would you be okay with it? The seller actually loved the idea. The agent was like, this is actually really, my seller's so happy that they chose to like be part of this. And then this other agent had a great event and had fun with her people, which funny, there was a picture that was posted from that last event that she did. And the picture said, did you know you can fit 35 people in a shower? And it was, because again, these were big homes. And it was the entire bus. It was 25 people. It was the entire bus inside the shower. Like that, it's a picture of it. And she put it on social media and went like, having fun. Look at this. You can have fun with this business. You can help people dream, as we're talking about. And then all of this goes back, Matt, to what we started off with originally, which is that time is just a number that people use while they're trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B. If I told you how to drive right now from San Francisco to New York and I said, give me a time frame and how long that's going to take you, you would be like, I don't know, a week. I guess it would take a week to get there. By the way, you can get there in 2 days if you really wanted to push all the way through. We just don't know. We don't know. We don't have enough information. It's a difficult process. It's a scary process of real estate. And your job as a real estate agent is to say, stop listening to the time. I need to figure out how to help these people get from here to here as efficiently as possible so they can achieve their goals.
Yeah.
If you focus on that, there's an amazing amount of business out here. If you buy into everybody's timelines they give you, you could miss a lot of business, or you could have a lot of people just go, we're not doing this right now.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult part.
And I know we kind of got off track a little bit with
we went everywhere.
This idea, but you look at time. Okay, maybe they do want time. How do you want to fill that time for them? Doing fun events, showing cool things, even if it's just picture, it doesn't have to be physically showing. It's like we've always talked about, if you know somebody who's dreaming of that property by the lake or out by the river, like whenever it comes up, send it to them. Even if you've never even talked about them being in a timeline to do it, fill the time with something that's fun and everything. And even on that tour idea, like the listing agent, like in today's day and age with all our technology, the content that you can create from somebody else bringing buyers here that can create a whole different buzz for a property. I mean, my goodness, like I would be, if I'm a listing agent, like, wait, you're going to take 25 people through my listing? Oh, I am going to be ready for that for sure. Yep. And we're going to make it incredible. And even if one or two people in there starts to get like a little bit of buying signals and things like that, I'm following up with that buyer's agent who's maybe wasn't a buyer's agent before, but now they are because that person's thinking about it. I'm going to create content. I'm going to be like, look at the buzz that we have around this property. Look at all these people that showed up. So for those of you who are like, oh, I would never do that. It's like, well, think about the opportunity you have on the listing side. But anyway, circling back to where we started, Garrett, the time.
I'm going to add one more.
Help people dream.
You brought up something we go, and I haven't thought about this for a while, and I know we are going to put a bow on this episode, but there's a question that I used to love asking, and I've had a lot of realtors do this, which is when you enter into that dream zone with people, even if they're thinking about buying right now or not thinking about buying, the opportunity to say, obviously you really like X and X type, whatever the property might be, whatever property you like, obviously you like this. If I ever come across a really cool property that's like that, would you mind if I shot it your direction? Would you mind if I emailed it to you? They might go, we're never going to buy it. It's like, it's okay. Like, I love being like, if you're interested in that, I would love to share it with you. More often than not, the person's like, well, that would be cool. And then all of a sudden now you have a group of people, whether buying or selling, and there's some people that go like, well, I'm just wasting my time with you people. No, you're not. You're helping them dream. If I know somebody wants to live on the river and I know there's a cool house that came up on the river and it might be $1 million over what they're willing to spend or what their even budget would even allow them to do, send it over to them. Be like, oh my gosh, dude, look at this river house that came up just the other day. Just thinking about you, man. Check it out. Love to know your thoughts on it. I'm not asking them to go look at it. We're not going to go get in the car and go show it. It's just you have real estate to share. People love real estate. Have fun with this.
That's the key. Like right there, you're like, oh, it's a waste of my time and all this stuff. Like, wait a minute. I hear from agents all the time, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to call people about. I don't know. Wait, and you have this opportunity to share exactly what you do with people. Like, this is what you do. Oh, but they're not going to buy. I'm like, wait, so you're going to miss out on an opportunity to add value because they're not going to transact, yet you don't even know what you want to call people about? Let's just show them who you are as a professional and show up, people. Like, oh gosh, man. It does like irk me a little bit. Like, well, but I don't want to do that because they're not going to buy. It's like, well, then you don't really care about showing up for your people.
Yeah.
So
you're transactional. If those words come out of your mouth, you are focused too much on the transaction and not about actually taking care of the people that are around you. And with that being said, we went everywhere on this episode. This is just be the random,
So I will say this is a great episode that's an example of people like, well, do you guys script this? Do you guys plan this out? Like literally this one was like, hey, here's a topic. Like Garrett just like gave the title of the topic and I was like, yeah, sure. Record. Let's go down the path and see what happens.
We'll see how
we hope you guys
It's
enjoy
taken
that.
from people. People are gonna be like, don't ever do that again. I need a topic. I need to know where we're going, and don't just go.
I need
all over
instructional
the place
1, 2, 3 bullet points of all this stuff. But, we're here to not only add value, but to entertain as well. And hopefully you guys got both out of this episode.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened today. If you like what you hear, if you like what this is all about, go check out our inside track. We have a very easy space you can come into in our world. We have content every single day that we put out on the inside track. Matt does health and fitness stuff so you can see some of his workouts and what he's doing. We do real estate stuff so you can see what's working right now and what we're seeing. We do mindset pieces in there. Every week we put out something just to make sure your mind's in a good spot and focusing on the right things. We have positive readings that we put in there from books that we're reading right now. Come and check it out. We'd love to have you part of that group. If you're looking for group coaching, if you want coaching from us, group or one-on-one, that's a level you can go check out there too if you want to go see if that's the right space for you. But we'd love to have you in our world. Go get our app. Go on our website. Check it out. You can see what's available to you there. And last, if you're listening and you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, it helps us out tremendously. I would love it if you could jump on YouTube real quick, look up Life at 1010, subscribe to our channel. It doesn't cost anything at all, but it definitely helps us reach more people and build this podcast out so more people are getting the value that Matt and I bring to the table. So with that being said, Matt, thank you. Listeners, thank you. We appreciate you so much, and we will be back soon.
Take care, everybody.